Well, we're ready to bridle our kite, and there's several ways you can do it. What I prefer to do is use a large needle to thread the bridle line through the kite skin. You can use the tip of a toothpick. It's sharp enough and it punctures it well. But I find that it leaves a hole that's so small that it's difficult to get the line through. So I use a needle, if I have one. Today I do. And a piece of bridle line. Well, the bridle line in this case is a piece of flying line. It's cotton. You can use anything. You can use fishing line. Fishing line is good for bridles. Dacron, braided dacron, or cotton, heavy cotton thread, anything really that's strong enough. You need it to be about 6 or 7 pounds in breaking strength is about all you really need. Now we want the bridle to go, or first go right through the kite skin, through the tape on the back, just above or just towards the nose from where the bow and the spine meet. Now I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm going to put the needle through just below the bow towards the tail of the bow on the other side of the spine, and then I have that part done. I keep the needle on and thread, and I then go to the lower bridle. I'm on the front of the kite here. Go to the lower bridle connection area, and let's see if I can show this. I puncture the skin right alongside of the spine, and then I do the same thing on the other side of the spine, wrapping the line around the back of the spine, pulling it through. I don't need the needle any longer. And now we tie the bridle. And to tie it, simple. Use a half hitch. I use 2 or 3 of them just to make sure that it stays. And then I clip off a little bit. So I leave a little bit of a tail there because sometimes you need to retighten the knots. They sometimes do come loose. Now we want to adjust the length of this bridle so that it extends to just about to the wingtip, but we don't want it to go beyond the wingtip because it'll get tangled on the wing and it could cause the kite to crash. So I again just tie it with a few half hitches and trim off the excess, and I leave a little tail there too. And then with the excess, this is a piece that I use. I just loop it over. If not, I cut a different piece, but I have a piece about 6 or 7 inches long, fold it in half, and then I just tie a knot. Overhand knot works, figure 8 knot works, or putting it through the overhand knot twice holds real well as well. And anyway, you tighten it up and you form a loop, just a small loop here. And I trim the ends. This loop is about 3 inches long or thereabouts. Trim the ends. And then I attach this loop to the main bridle line that we just attached, and I do it. I attach it using a lark's head knot, and to make the knot, I put the loop under the bridle line, and then I put the knot end back around the bridle line and through the loop, and pull it, and that forms a lark's head knot. That's an adjustable knot, so I can move this loop up and down the bridle line to adjust the way the kite flies and adjust for various wind conditions. So now the kite is ready to fly, except for one thing. We need to put a bend in the spine. All Indian fighter kites need a little bit of a bend in the spine. And it doesn't have to be very much, but it should start right above the bow and continue almost to a line that's right across where the wingtips are. Just a little bit of a bend, and I don't know if you can see how much of a bend is there, but not. The nose here is raised off the table about, maybe a ½ inch or 3/4 of an inch. Now the other thing about flying an Indian fighter kite is because it's a 2-point bridle, there are no other adjustments for the kite on the bridle, just this, moving this up and down the bridle for changing the angle of attack of the kite. If the kite flies is too spinny, then you want to move this towards the tail of the kite, and that will minimize the spinning. The other thing that can happen, because bamboo does change its characteristics with humidity and other factors, the kite might just always want to turn to one direction or the other. And if you have the bridle connected, and the knot that you tied should be directly in the center of the spine, on the tail and on the nose. If that's the case, and you're flying the kite and it always wants to turn, let's say to the right, then it means that the portion of the bow on the right side of the kite is a little bit weaker than the bow on the left side. So in order to balance the kite, balance the tension in the bow, there's a very simple process, but you have to be careful when you do it. On the strong side, which in this case would be the left side, you simply hold the bow between your fingers you grab it near the spine and then a little farther towards the wingtip here, and you simply move it a little bit back and forth. And what this does is it breaks down a few of the fibers that make up the bamboo bow and weakens it slightly. You don't want to do it too much. And then you fly the kite again and test whether it flies straighter or whether it still turns to the right, or maybe you overcorrect it and now it turns a little to the left. If that's the case, you go to the other side of the bow and they call this massaging the bamboo. You just barely move it. It's really a very, very slight movement here that you do. It's something you don't want to overdo, that's for sure, because you'll break the bamboo. And now you have a kite that can give you hours and hours of fun and flying, and it costs very little money. And if it gets a tear in it, I notice I got another tear in this one I didn't notice before, I just put a piece of tape on it, and that seems to take care of it. Sometimes I have these kites with mostly tape, not too much actual paper, but they still fly well. And they are wonderful flying kites, and I hope you enjoy flying your own and get several of them, because they are really a fabulous kite.